welcome to the Valley today. Happy Monday. I am your host, Janet Michael. We've got an exciting show for you today. We are in the studio with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director for Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. And it seems kind of weird to say Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity, but when I think about it, it's a whole lot better than Winchester, Frederick, Clarke Habitat for Humanity. So thank you for making it a little easier for me, Matt.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So let's start with that because you guys have just expanded and are now part of Shenandoah County as well as Winchester, Frederick, and Clarke counties. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it is. It's exciting. We, we were founded in 1997 as Winchester, Frederick County, even what I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
The opportunity there, I think the affordable housing challenge and crisis that's been in existence, but even growing day by day, really, I think predicates the need for more housing solutions, more opportunities to help more families. And we've done a great job in Winchester, Frederick County. We had the opportunity to expand into Clarke County in late 2016. And so when given the opportunity to explore the expansion in Shenandoah County, it was one that we really couldn't pass up. I think the opportunities to help more families is always key on our mind. To be able to scale and do more is so important today more than ever. So we're excited to have the opportunity to do that. It's been great so far. We could not be Winchester, Frederick, Clarke, and Shenandoah. There's just one too many names.
It's a whole lot of initials, even if you shorten it.
Yeah, you start looking with an S at the end, it looks like an apostrophe S. So we're happy to be there and looking forward to seeing how we can help the county do even more.
So tell me a little bit about Habitat in general. For somebody who's listening, I'm sure they're probably, unless they've been living under a rock, they understand the Habitat model. But go ahead and kind of recap for me what you guys do and how you do it.
Yeah, well, Habitat for Humanity, everybody knows the name, and I think that's the great part about the brand. It's a $5 billion global brand. Everybody knows Habitat, but I do think there's always some misperceptions about what we do and how we do it. We're a nonprofit that focuses on affordable housing, finding housing solutions for creating owner-occupied home ownership opportunities. And we've been around as an organization in its entirety since 1976. This affiliate was founded in 1997, but looking at trying to help families have the opportunity to hand up, not a handout. We say that a lot, but we mean it. It's the chance to give families an ability to be able to own their own home, to gain the dream of home ownership. And that's just something that is so difficult post-recession in particular about, with tight credit, with just rising costs in general, and just really getting the opportunity to do that. And we are an organization that was built around that model. It's a Christian ministry designed to help families get into houses.
Well, and I think you're right when you mentioned there are always misconceptions. These families, they have to demonstrate a financial need. They also have to participate in the actual building and construction of the house. These houses are not just handed to them. They're not just, plucked out of the air and here you go, here's the deed, live happily ever after. There's some work, there's sweat equity definitely involved.
Yeah, it's a rigorous process. There's three key pieces, and you just hit on two of them, so congratulations for that. They have to have an ability to pay because they're going to own these houses. They're going to buy these houses. We do not give them away, and I'll talk about that in a second. But they have to have a willingness to partner, and as you mentioned, they have to perform sweat equity, which is volunteer labor on their house or a neighboring house or even in the restore, but they have to volunteer a set number of hours, and it's typically 250 hours on top of their jobs, and on top of, in many cases, being single moms raising children and having to manage children and families as well. Very challenging process, but the families go through. They get financial classes. They have home maintenance classes to help prepare them for home ownership. In addition to that, they have to be willing to partner and have the need, as you mentioned as well. And so our families are typically lower income, hardworking families, what the Habitat or what the United Way is now calling the ALICE families. Mm-hmm. Asset limited, income constrained families, hardworking, lower income people, individuals or families. It doesn't always have to be a family. And they go through that process. We build the house with them, not for them. And eventually we close on the house just like any other. They pay principal, they pay taxes, they pay insurance. The only difference is they don't pay interest. And that's a huge difference.
Yeah.
But one huge benefit of being part of the Habitat family partnership.
So I didn't, I try not to ask guests questions that I don't think they already know the answers to, because I don't want to be that guy. Do you know how many houses you guys have built over the course of, because you've been there quite a while?
Mm-hmm. I'm moving on my third year. So when I came and interviewed with this station probably 2.5 years ago, I was asked questions I didn't know the answers to.
You and I were new then, so I apologize for that.
That was painful introduction. But we've built 65 since 1997. We're working on 3 more this year. We have a plan for 4 in 2020, or 4 in 2019, and then another 4 probably in 2020. So that's going to continue to be the case. Our primary mission is to help families by building homes or renovating existing homes. We are also, because of the expansion into Shenandoah County, looking to start our first home in the Shenandoah County area, hopefully within the next year. So that would add an additional house being built onto the program. On top of that, Shenandoah County's Habitat, when we expanded and merged in with them, have built 9 or 10 houses themselves. And so we'll be picking up active mortgages there as well.
So how do you find the property? Because that's kind of where it starts. I mean, you've got the families kind of in this process, and they're going through their classes, and they're trying to figure out, where their minimum income levels are and whatnot. But you still have to find the property to either renovate or build from scratch. That's got to be a difficult process, especially in the city of Winchester, where some of that stuff's getting tight.
It is tight. Yeah. You actually touch on even a bigger point, which is, you kind of ask who is Habitat. And I think one of the it's one of the things I found is it's a complex nonprofit. We are a construction business, as we all know. We have the resource. We have a retail business. As I mentioned with the bank, we are a bank. We do lending practices. We have qualified loan originator. We hold mortgages. I've got 42 mortgages right now. We do real estate, and we do rental property management, and we do social services. So there's a lot involved with running a Habitat affiliate. But part of that is we are a realtor. We buy and sell properties. We are always searching for more properties. Donated properties are certainly very helpful. But when needed, we also go out and purchase land, and we sell land, and we work through that. In Winchester, just to give you an example, in the last 3 months, we've picked up 6 brand new empty lot properties in downtown Winchester. And that's through various mechanisms, creative ways to do that. But we do find properties that way. And we expanded into Shenandoah County. We'll be picking up some land that the previous Habitat had. And that'll allow us to jumpstart some builds in that area as well. So it is a challenge, but we are always working with the community if people want to donate land or sell to us at a discount. I mean, those are opportunities out there as well. In addition to, we'll go out and buy it if we have to.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the other services that you guys offer. You mentioned briefly the Restore, so I do definitely want to talk about that. But then you also were telling me before we came on the air about a trip that you're about to take to Paraguay.
Correct.
So I want to have you kind of fill in our listeners on how that all ties back into the broader Habitat and, just kind of the global aspect of it a little bit.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk for a few more minutes with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director of Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. I am Janet Michael, and you are listening to The Valley Today. Expecting to hear a commercial? Well, that's kind of what this is. First, I want to thank you for listening to the Valley Today podcast. You're one of many who listen to the show this way. Sometimes it's because our listeners didn't know that if they're away from the radio, they can still listen on our website, via the TuneIn app on their phone, or even on Alexa. We're also available in the Apple Podcast app and the Google Play Music app. Sometimes our listeners are just busy and they want to listen when it fits their schedule. Or maybe it's a guest of the show who want to hear what they sounded like when they were on the radio. We even have a few binge listeners who listen to a week's worth at a time. So if you want those people, your potential customers, to hear your message, your ad could have been here. And the bonus, your commercial isn't restricted to just 30 or 60 seconds. You can take up to 2 minutes to talk to those customers. There's even the opportunity to be the exclusive sponsor of the Valley Today podcast, which gets you on-air mentions at the end of every show. If all of this sounds interesting to you, give me a call at the station, 540-635-4121, or send me an email to Janet at theriver953.com. You can also find all of my contact info by searching Janet Michael on our website at theriver953.com. So do one of those things. Get in touch and let me tell you how we can talk to those customers in this podcast every single day. And now, back to the show. Welcome back to the Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael, and this segment is brought to you by Valley Health, offering the latest minimally invasive surgery advancements. You can learn more at valleyhealthlink.com/MIS. So we're in the studio today chatting with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director for Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. Matt, we talked in the first segment a little bit about what Habitat does as a whole, the fact that you do now cover Winchester, Frederick, Clarke, and Shenandoah County. But there are other things. I mean, you rattled off the list of, well, we're a construction company and we're a bank and we're a real estate and we're all of these things. But you have even more services that you guys have expanded to offer now. Yeah,
in 2016, when we went into Clarke County, one of the things that we had was we noticed there was a gap in the repair program where Help with Housing, had closed in April of 16, and when we went into Clarke, we thought, one idea would be let's pilot a critical home repair program in that county in particular, keep it fairly tight and see how we do, and using the Habitat model of the same concepts of you got to pay into it and you've got to volunteer as a part of it and you have to demonstrate the need. And we did that, and we did 10 or 12 repairs our first year in Clarke with a lot of support from the County of Clarke themselves, the Board of Supervisors, and a lot of great donors in the area. And it worked really well, and we learned a lot at the same time. And so that's an ongoing program that's begun, and we just expanded through the Help of United Way's Impact Grant, expanding that into Winchester and Frederick. And we just completed our first two between Winchester and Frederick, and that's becoming a burgeoning program where we're actually looking to now expand staff opportunities to support that program. So
well, and
really
that makes sense because when you mentioned before the level of people that need affordable housing, there are a lot of people out there that do have the housing, but it's falling apart for various reasons. Either they can't afford to maintain it, or they're getting older and don't have the physical capability of keeping things up to date. So I think that's a great offshoot for Habitat.
Yeah, and it's another housing solution. You mentioned two of them. I think as families or individuals age in their home, to be able to allow them to stay in their home longer is such a huge part of that quality of life as you get older. And when the baby boomers are starting to move into that time frame where their housing conditions and their bodies are changing, and you need to be able to adapt to meet those needs. And the other one is deferred maintenance. When families don't have the money to be able to cover certain costs, what ends up happening is they just get worse and worse and worse. And a leaky roof turns into mold and turns into asthmatic issues and turns into a condemned home eventually. And if you can nip those things in the bud early and have Habitat be a huge part of that, I think it's a win-win for everybody. And not only that, we can touch a lot more families in a positive way with a lot less money than we would necessarily in the home construction side. So I think they're both extremely important. We'll never stop building houses. That is our core mission. But adding the repair program just creates more opportunities for more families to receive help. Well,
and it makes a lot of sense. Now, you were telling me before we went on the air that you are preparing for a trip in the next couple of weeks to Paraguay. And I thought that was odd, but then you explained to me kind of what your previous life was before you came to Habitat. So tell me a little bit about the trip.
Well, another slightly maybe misperception or unknown about Habitat is as being a ministry, we do tithe a percentage of our unrestricted overhead to our international headquarters, which is throughput directly into our 70 overseas programs where we have Habitat offices around the world building homes. Our affiliate has funded the construction of 30 or 40 houses overseas since 1997, which most people don't know, through our tithe money. And so this year we've decided to send a local team from the Winchester Frederick Clarke community. I'll be leading that, and we'll be sending them to Paraguay, which is one of our country team partners where we tithe. and actually build where we've been sending money. And bring that connection together and allow people to see what Habitat is doing on a global scale as well, and how Winchester, Frederick, Clarke, Shenandoah, how we're involved in that as a Blue Ridge Habitat.
Well, and I think so many times in our community, we live in our community bubbles, and we don't necessarily think that there is a community identical to ours in another state, in another country, that needs the same types of things that our community here needs. And I think it's just an amazing thing that you guys are able to tie that in and go and offer the same thing.
Yeah, no, that's great. And working with a Habitat partner overseas makes that much easier. But we've got 11 other folks coming with me that are all from our local community. It's going to be a blast. We leave on September 29th and we come back on October 7th. So about 8 days.
So I assume you're going to be blowing up your Facebook and your Twitter and all your social media so we can see pictures of all of this happening.
Yeah. And we have a great guy that's already agreed to be our photojournalist for the trip and document this thing. In addition to that, the other thing that you kind of just when you talk about not living in a bubble, but being able to partner, is we just did a disaster response using our Restore, sending product down to Amherst County, Virginia, from some tornadoes that hit back in April of this year. And they were in the rebuilding process, and we were able to donate significant product with a partner, Global Emergency Group, that's based in Winchester. And we partnered and helped support a disaster response for the region.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, let's go to break just a little bit early because I want to have a little bit of time in this last segment coming up to talk about the Restore.
Yes.
Because that's kind of the flagship store that a lot of people hear, but I want to make sure they understand how it works and what you have and the impact that it has on your organization when people go there to shop or when they donate things.
Yes, perfect.
Awesome. Okay, well, we are going to come back in just a few minutes and talk more with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director of the Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. I am Janet Michael, and you are listening to The Valley Today.
There's always more to the story. At the River 95.3, that's what our new podcast, Another Look, offers. A deeper look into the news stories you hear about every week. I'm Dylan Nichols, news director at the River 95.3. Join Janet Michael from The Valley Today and I as we review news from our area, as well as some odd news stories from around the country. You can find Another Look on the river953.com and listen to our take on the news whenever, wherever. Another Look offering you a weekend review with a twist. You can find a new one every Friday in the Apple Podcast app, in the Google Play Music app, or online at theriver953.com.
Welcome back to The Valley Today. I am your host, Janet Michael, and this segment is brought to you by Valley Health Urgent Care. Can't wait to see a doctor? Now you don't have to. You can even check in online and save time at vhurgentcare.com. So we have got a couple of minutes left in the studio. We have been chatting with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director for Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. And Matt, we talked about all of the different things that Habitat offers, the important role that they play in having families in our different communities to have affordable housing. You talked about the repair program. We talked about the Restore, briefly touched on it a couple of times, but that place is massive. I didn't even realize how many square feet you had until you were telling me before we came on the air. So tell me a little bit about the Restore.
Yes, so the Restore is a home improvement thrift store. We sell new, which I think is important to emphasize, new and gently used home improvement products that run the gamut from electrical, plumbing, appliances, furniture, tools, paint, you name it, it's in there. If there's a challenge, it's how to find everything in there. But we moved the store in April of 17 into the new facility at 400 Battle Drive, Battle, Battaile, over by, between Rubbermaid, past Rubbermaid. It's the old Midwesco building behind RC Bottling
behind the Youth
plant.
Development Center over across from Trex.
Yeah, so we moved there a little over a year and a half ago maybe, and since then we started at 17,000 square feet. Now we're close to 34,000 square feet of floor space. So it is a huge operation. We have 7 staff there now, and it is performing exceptionally. And it's just been a great partnership with the community, having people donate stuff, having the general public come in and shop. It's just been a wonderful thing. And that store is what really helps drive the success of the organization by providing that baseline financial support to keep the organization running.
Well, and it's not just stuff that's donated from contractors either necessarily. If you're doing a do-it-yourself home renovation, you're redoing your kitchen, condition and there's nothing wrong with your cabinets, but you're replacing them, they can be donated to you as well. It can be a regular homeowner.
Yeah, no, we get donations from individual homeowners. We get donations from contractors and folks that are remodeling at at a contract level. We get a lot of product from partners that are coming right from the source, and so a lot of that stuff is brand new that's coming in. Like I said, it runs the full spectrum. The great thing about the store, I think, number one, the general public get to shop at 50 to 90% discounts. We are not Lowe's or Home Depot, but we're probably somewhere between Lowe's and Home Depot and TJ Maxx. Every day is different, but it's nice to come in and shop and take a look. But we offer the general public a discounted merchandise. That's number one. I think the second thing is it allows homeowners to donate things, and you get a tax deduction for it while also saving hundreds of tons of material from going into the landfill. That is where most of that stuff would have gone. Now it's being repurposed and resold. So it saves the dump. It's a green business. And it supports the organization at the same time.
So if I want to come shop there, when are you open?
We're open Tuesday to Saturday, 9 to 5. You can either donate during that time. You can come shop. All of those things Tuesday, but please don't come in on Sunday or Monday. We are not open, and we do get some confusion. People walking into the office now that we're completely co-located with our office headquarters now. So going through the Restore doors Tuesday to Saturday, and the other cool thing is we'll come pick stuff up too. So if you have things that need to be donated, washer and dryer, as long as it's unplugged on the first floor, we can come and pick that up and take that away from you, which is another nice feature.
Awesome. And I keep kicking myself because I haven't been over there yet, but I'm going to get there. I swear that I am. So with the name change comes some new websites and new things like that. So in the minute or so that we have left, how can people get in touch with you? Where can they get more information?
So our office and headquarters and the Restore all at 400 Battle Drive in downtown Winchester, south side of town. Phone number is unchanged for both the Restore and the office. Our new website is blueridgehabitat.org. And all of our email addresses are also going from the original hfhwfc.org to everything is now first initial last name at blueridgehabitat.org.
So relatively easy stuff.
I think it's easier and it just rolls off the tongue a lot better. We're all so much happier, and I hope the public is too.
And people can search Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for Habitat and still find you, even if you haven't gotten around to changing all those names yet.
Absolutely. If you use all of the old stuff, it'll still rotate over for a while. So,
awesome.
So no problem.
Facebook is a good place to go if you want to know what you've gotten, for the Restore, because I know you post frequently when things come in.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, we are going to wrap up today's show. We have been chatting with Matthew Peterson. He is the executive director for Blue Ridge Habitat for Humanity. Matt, thanks for coming to hang out with me.
Thank you, Jen, for having me.
Absolutely. So tomorrow we are back in the studio for Tourism Tuesday. Felicia Hart is coming, so it is the Front Royal Warren County edition. So I hope you'll join me there. If you missed any part of today's show, you'll be able to hear it in about an hour up on our website at theriver953.com. Just click the Valley Today tab. Of course, if you subscribe to it in the Apple Pod Store, you'd already have it by now. See you tomorrow.